creamy, hearty, and packed with bold flavors. This Zuppa Toscana is comfort food at its best. We're taking this classic Tuscan-inspired soup and cooking it outdoors over an open fire for rich, deep flavor. With spicy Italian sausage, crispy bacon, tender potatoes, and fresh kale. This soup is warm, satisfying, and perfect for any outdoor cook. Let's fire up the pot and get started. Here's what I used for today's recipe. 1 pound of Italian sausage, 1 pound of bacon, divided, 1 sweet onion, 2 cloves of garlic, 6 cups of chicken broth, 4 to 5 yellow potatoes, 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, 3 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 2 cups of heavy cream, 4 cups of kale, 1 tablespoon of white wine vinegar. Zuppa Toscana literally means Tuscan soup, and while the version we're making today is famous in the US, it actually has roots in Italian peasant cooking. First up, let's prep our ingredients so everything is ready to go. We're using 1 pound of spicy Italian sausage. This brings that bold, rich flavor and just the right amount of heat. No slicing needed here, just remove them from their casings and set them aside. Next, 1 pound of bacon, chopped into bite-sized pieces. This is going to add smokiness and crispy texture to the soup. Cut it into small strips so it renders down perfectly in the pot. Now 4 to 5 yellow potatoes, cut into 1-inch chunks. Yellow potatoes hold up well in soups and stay nice and creamy without falling apart. Now we've got 1 sweet onion, which we'll dice. This will balance out the spice from the sausage and add that natural sweetness to the broth. Next, 1 clove of garlic, minced nice and fine. A quick trick, smash it with the side of your knife first, then peel and mince it up. Garlic burns fast, so keeping the pieces small helps it blend evenly into the broth. Now let's prep the kale, one of the key ingredients that gives Zuppa Toscana its signature look and flavor. The first step is removing the tough stems. Kale stems are fibrous and don't break down well in soup, so we'll strip the leaves away for a more tender bite. You can do this by holding the base of the stem and running your fingers upward, stripping the leafy part off in one motion. Or if you prefer, lay it flat and use a knife to cut away the stem on both sides. Once the stems are removed, it's time to chop the kale down to the perfect size. You want pieces about 1 to 2 inches long, big enough to hold up in the soup, but small enough to eat in one bite. Alright, let's get this pot sizzling. We're starting with a cold Dutch oven over medium heat. Toss in the bacon first and let it cook until crispy and golden, about 5 to 7 minutes. You want that beautiful rendered bacon fat to coat the bottom of the pot. Once the bacon is crisp, go ahead and remove it from the pot, but don't drain the fat. That's liquid gold, and it's going to add serious flavor to the soup. Next, add in the Italian sausage. Let it cook, breaking it apart as it browns. This should take about 5 minutes until you see those crispy, golden edges. In Tuscany, hearty soups like this were a way to make the most of simple, farm-fresh ingredients. Rustic cuts of meat, potatoes, leafy greens, and rich broth. Now, stir in the diced onions, letting it cook until softened and fragrant. About 3 minutes, just until they start to turn translucent. Potatoes, salt, pepper, and red pepper flakes all go in next. The traditional Tuscan diet has always been simple, rustic, and focused on fresh ingredients, a philosophy known as cucina povera, or poor cooking. Now let's deglaze the pot and build the foundation of our broth. Pour in 6 cups of chicken broth. In goes the minced garlic, just 1 clove, but it makes a big impact. We're going to bring this up to a gentle boil, then drop it down to a low simmer for 15 minutes, just until the potatoes are fork tender and creamy. Now that our potatoes are tender and the broth is rich with flavor, it's time to bring back that bold, savory Italian sausage and bacon and let it work its magic. This not only brings rich, meaty flavor, but also all those juices that have been resting, making sure nothing goes to waste. Now that the sausage is back in and the broth is packed with flavor, it's time to bring in the final two ingredients, the heavy cream and the kale. These two elements are what take Zuppa Toscana from a simple soup to a rich, creamy, and perfectly balanced dish. Now let's add the final touch, 4 cups of freshly chopped kale. This isn't just for color. Kale brings texture, flavor, and just the right amount of bite to balance the richness of the cream and sausage. Let it simmer for just 3 to 5 minutes until it softens but still has some texture. For the final touch, add a splash of white wine vinegar. This brings out all the flavors and gives the soup just a little extra brightness. All that's left to do now is ladle that delicious soup into a bowl and garnish it with some crispy bacon. And there you have it, a steaming bowl of homemade Zuppa Toscana, rich, creamy, and packed with bold flavors. The perfect mix of spicy Italian sausage, crispy bacon, tender potatoes, and fresh kale, all coming together in one comforting, hearty dish. If you love big, bold flavors cooked outdoors, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. What's your favorite cold weather comfort food? And if you want more fire-cooked recipes like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, you never miss a new cookout. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep the fire hot and the food even hotter. I'll see you next time.
It's savory.
Savory, really flavorful. The bacon makes it super good and the sausage is so good.